What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Hometown Advantage, where two hometown guys shine light on small town sports. This is Dominic Massimiano, teacher and head football coach at Rising Sun High School, and joining me as always is my co-host Shane Muller.
What's going on?
Former Rising Sun and Wesley College baseball player. This episode is brought to you by Cecil County's own Bird Dog Plumbing. They are expertly trained to handle all plumbing emergencies the same day you call. As a family-owned business with young kids themselves, they understand the importance of keeping your family on schedule. Upon calling, they'll quickly diagnose and solve any plumbing problems you have so you can make your child's practice that evening without worrying about plumbing issues at home. They are licensed and bonded in Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. Give them a call today. They are ready to spot your plumbing solutions with Bird Dog Precision. And as always, we think it's awesome you decided to join us. And if you like what you hear, be sure to download this episode, leave a like, subscribe to YouTube, share us on Facebook, just a little bit of everything. Yep. And share us with your sports-loving friends. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at hometown_advantage1. I listened back to myself today, and I told myself I was going to get that right. So we got it. So today we are back outside of the county for a second week in a row, which we love to do because, we were getting a little biased with Rising Sun there for a while. But today we are joined by a huge figure in Cecil County sports world. Not only did he play at Elkton during his high school career, but then went on to play at the next level and found his way back to his hometown to give back in his coaching career. When it comes to setting a culture within a sports program, this is your man. Over the years I've been coaching in Cecil, he's become a friend, but more so, my arch rival. Nah, I'm just kidding. Mike Rossi.
What's going on,
man?
boys?
How you doing?
How you doing, man? I'm good, man. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Let's go.
I'm pumped, dude. Let's do it.
Yeah.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 2013.
Okay.
So I just
so you're younger than us.
The 10-year mark last year was a tough one to swallow. So, yeah, man. Graduated.
2 more years. It'd be 10 years since we graduated college.
Yeah, holy smokes.
That's the wild part.
That's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were connected with you. Now, I guess we never really hung out as much. I mean, you were down the road at Salisbury while we were at Wesley, but because we were roommates with Ryan.
Chemo. Yeah. Shout out to Chemo, dude.
Let's go.
What a guy.
Give him a shout out.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, we were we knew about you. You knew we played with you and stuff like that. And then he told us you went to Salisbury. So we were rivals in high school. Then we were rivals in college. And now we're back to being rivals again. But
back to being rivals.
That's what happens when you come back to the county and you start coaching. I mean, rivals during the season. Cool off the season.
Cool, absolutely.
Yeah, we're all about the same. We're all about the same message and culture outside of the season. So, yeah, man, excited to have you on here and especially get another guest outside of Rising Sun.
Yeah, man.
Right? Yeah. You get a little chance to shout out your squad and get to hear a little bit more about.
For sure.
Second football episode.
Yep.
I always love that too. So
Right.
We keep getting more suggestions that more females should be on here. We're getting real male heavy. But
If you know one,
I got some on the list. We just got to get them in here. I promise I'm not being sexist, all right, by having all these guys on here. There are great female coaches out there and sports figures.
A ton.
A lot of them. So, yeah, I mean, you've listened to the show, so we kind of like to just start, at your beginning and work our way to where you are now as a coach and just kind of hear a little bit about how you coach, why you do it, where it stemmed from.
Open book.
So yeah, we'll start at the beginning. So we always start by learning just about our guest sports career.
Yeah,
because
man.
it always started somewhere. But so first question would be, what is the game plan for week 1?
It's a game plan for week 1
against us? That's a joke. I just wanted to catch you off guard.
Hey, look, at the end of the day, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmys and the Joes,
There it
man.
is,
You
there
know
it
what I
is,
mean?
there it is.
I would love to say that I have an incredible amount of control over the football game, but at the end of the day, man, you can't. There's certain things that you can't coach.
Hey, we
certain
got right
things
into
that you can coach.
You got right into the deep stuff there. You're right. You are correct. But anyway, so for real though, just kind of walk us through where your sports career started and some of your time at the next level and all that.
Yeah, man. So Elkton guy through and through. Grew up here. Never lived anywhere but here in Elkton, other than the 5 years that I was at Salisbury, because 4 years wasn't enough fun. So, but yeah, started playing football at 6. I played soccer, football, basketball, baseball, all of it. But came up through Elkton Junior football. Shout out to the Shinnocks at the time. We're running the organization. Great family. Great coaches as well, especially at the youth level. And worked my way up through there, played Elkton High football, thought it was the greatest thing in the world. I watched way too much Friday Night Lights as a kid, the movie, and I just thought that playing high school football was end all be all, and it was a great time. We were fortunate enough, all of our boys stayed together. Nobody left. The guys that we played with at 6 were the guys that we played with at 17 and 18. So had a good run for our senior year. Went to the state semifinals, and then ran into the absolute buzzsaw that is Middletown out in Western Maryland.
Yes.
I mean, Justin Falcinelli was a lineman on their team. He ended up playing at Clemson, win a national championship. Ricky Leonard played at Florida State, got some time in the NFL. So yeah, they were a wagon.
All sports, they are still a wagon.
And so played at Elkton, got recruited to play football at Salisbury. And in the typical teenage arrogant fashion, I said, man, I'm going to go to Salisbury. I'm going to start D3. I'll be great. And, I had so many great and supportive people that were like, dude, it's not how it works, man. It's not how it works. They're like, everybody is a stud at that level. So anyway, I ended up going to Salisbury. Fortunate enough to make the travel squad. Went to the game at Wesley that we lost on a last second, I want to say like 50 or 60 yard bomb from Joe. So thanks, Joe. Shout out to you.
Yeah, Joe.
We've talked about that already once on here.
Yeah. So I had a story about that when you were done. Though.
So I fortunate enough to play at Salisbury my freshman year. I made my way onto the punt team. That was how I made the bus, playing special teams. And by the 8th game of the season, I got to play a little bit. We had an injury on the offensive line. Got to play in the second half against Utica, and then got to start against Ithaca. Ended up with a concussion in that game, late in the game, and then that was kind of it. I only played 1 year at Salisbury because at the time the concussion movie came out, and there was all that. It was a very, very real and very new thing in the football community that concussions were really, really bad, and there was a lot of research coming out. Junior seau had just happened, all those things, and it took about 5 months to recover from, and I was just like, I think this is it. And then on top of it, I had a 1.2 GPA at the end of the first semester because, like I said, 4 years wasn't fun enough.
That
will happen.
Got the letter from Salisbury University that said, dude, if you don't get a 3.0 in the next semester, you're out of here. And I was like, got to get a degree. So had to straighten up and do my part in school, and then that was the end of the playing career right there.
Okay.
So what's that Wesley story?
So that's the Hail Mary, right? To
Hail Mary
to Jeremiah Howe.
We were up. I don't know who caught the ball. I just know Joe threw the freaking thing. So
about that is Ryan was playing right tackle. At the end of the game,
he was,
and got cooked off the line, and by Muscles,
who was a former Wesley player.
Jeremy.
I remember his.
He was Muscles at Wesley.
Oh my God, that dude was a unit.
We talked about in a former podcast where I got picked up by another grown man. It was Muscles. Day one of scout team, I went to go just straight up what we call a Chevy block, just a straight on block, and I just got lifted off the ground, and I was like, what the hell? So he forced Joe to roll out to throw that ball. So Ryan won us the game.
Thanks, Ryan. Shout out, female.
Let's go, man.
Another one. But so that was the playing career right there.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll never forget that Wesley game. And it was so cool to be a part of. You talk about just moments that you remember in your sports career, like Wesley Week. It's Wesley Week. That nobody. Like, you're staying after practice for 15 to 30 minutes today and every day, and it's Wesley Week. Don't talk to me. Like, it was so cool to be a part of that Route 13 rivalry, and it was special, man. And I'll never forget walking onto the field or walking behind the goalpost to come around to the sideline.
Our amazing stadium.
It felt like Friday Night Lights. Like, this little corner was like chirping all of us as we walked by. And in high school sports, you're not really allowed to really, really trash talk. And that was one of the first things I found out in college football. I was like, man, these refs don't care at all. And this dude was like, he was pointing me up and down. He's like, look at you, I can tell you're a freshman. I was like, I am. Good call. So that was cool, man. That was an awesome week for sure.
And we've talking about Wesley Week. It's Salisbury Week. Our defense changes their entire week. Everything was cuts. because you guys love the
all
cut.
the time.
And it was defeat the cut, defeat the cut, defeat the cut. I had to go not only to my tight end and running back meeting, but I had to go to an extra meeting to learn the triple option.
Yep.
So we could run it in scout team. So like we had to go to extra film to learn another team's offense to be able to prepare our defense for it. So coach your ass. Salisbury week was a violent week at practice.
Right.
It was
No doubt
because you
about
knew
it.
it was going to be the game. It was.
Yeah.
The game it usually always was.
It was great. It was just great to be a part of from the sideline, man.
It was fun.
Awesome.
It was fun.
I mean, Salisbury in general was just stacked for all sports. I mean, the lacrosse team's incredible. The baseball team was incredible.
It's-
all of it, man.
It's really
Their
funny you
softball
say
team was
that
really good.
because I really think like there is not enough attention given to Jim Berkman, the head coach of the lacrosse program there. That like
Seriously.
find a person that has sustained a run of dominance like he has.
Yeah.
He has never had a freshman class not win a national championship
Right.
in the entirety of his time at Salisbury, which is I don't know the exact years, but you're talking into the late teens and early 20s, if not mid 20s, and no freshman classes never not won a national championship.
That's
Double negatives.
impressive. Well, shout out.
Really impressive.
Shout out.
Their lacrosse program, I have no doubt that they could be a Division I program.
And Salisbury does such a good job of, like, we talked about, Wesley just going down the friggin' tube because they didn't do anything to upgrade.
Right.
When you got that brand new field house behind the thing where all your meeting rooms were, your weight room was. I walked through it. It was amazing.
Well, their president of the school probably wasn't stealing money like ours was.
Hold up now. We're getting into that. So,
But
oh boy, but he knew, he knew the guy from Kiss. His claim to fame was, what the hell was his name? Oh man,
Gene Simmons?
Gene Simmons?
No, but the other guy did our commencement speech. The guitarist from Kiss.
Would have been you.
Oh my, yeah, it was mine. Yeah, he loved the fact that, and he also knew Jim Harbaugh. Jimmy.
Sorry.
Oh, Jimmy.
Come on, brother. All right, we're getting off topic here. But yeah, no. So yeah, that was a great rivalry. But I mean, like you, basically what you just explained, actually including the Elkton football, because I came up through Elkton junior football as well.
Yeah, my first year was your last year of Little Six, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we won the championship my fifth grade year, and then I moved to Rising Sun and started playing Rising Sun junior ball, and obviously Rising Sun through and through from that. But our journeys are literally the same.
Very similar. I didn't coach college ball, but very similar.
True.
Very similar.
So yeah, I mean, like, and it's funny because when you took over last year and I took over last year, there was just something like a couple years prior to that, because you probably knew you were stepping into that at some point. And then I knew I was stepping in at some point. Whenever Vaughn decided, it was time, and whenever Feeney decided it was time, for some reason I just had a feeling it was like me and Rossi are going to be like, just we're going to take over at the same exact time. And then bang,
back at it.
It was like Vaughn's like, yeah, Feeney's done. I'm like, oh, okay. So there goes Rossi. He goes, and he obviously he'd already told me, like, this is my last year. Like, you're in next year. Yep, there it is.
Right.
Prediction. But yeah, it's awesome that we are just getting back to. I mean, we're the same in regards to, we've had multiple conversations about culture and I see the stuff you do on Twitter in the weight room. We've had discussions of what you do and versus what I do, and I mean. And like I said, all the other coaches in the county, too, were doing a great job of building some good cultures.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know you said you haven't coached at the college level, but is that a goal of yours?
It was back in college, and then I had a great mentor who I was going to shout out. One of the questions being coaches that influenced you. Eric Day was a guy that coached at Frostburg back in the 90s and then coached at Dell State in the mid 2000s. And after he had kind of really explained what the life was like coaching in college, I was like, it's not, I don't really. It's not the football aspect. It's the lack of, there's people that have had successful families that coach college football. But being somebody that, like, I can't not put everything I want into it, and it was just like, well, you might move in 2 years. What if you coach for a losing program? Now you got to go. Now you're going to follow this coach 3 states away. It's just not. It wasn't something that I wanted to really raise a family in per se. Like, I'd rather be rooted here and have stability for my future kids and everything like that. So that was one of the biggest factors was just
And while we put a lot of time into high school, like, it's still nothing compared to college. I mean, the me like staying in the football office till 1 a.m. on a Sunday, game planning, and then you turn around and you go to study hall at 7 in the morning. Yep. And then like if you wanted to move out of Salisbury, because you probably did if you wanted to go, you didn't want to stay at Salisbury the whole time.
Right.
You have to know people, and when you go somewhere else, you're going to start over at the same exact spot. That's exactly were. Right. Because like there's somebody like the guy at Wesley, like he moved around 2 different schools and was a GA at 2 different schools while also being a GA at Wesley. So it's like he just was. I mean, but that's the way you got to do it. Like, you have to know people, and you got to work your way up.
Got to pay your dues,
and it's a
man.
long
work
process.
for peanuts. Too.
Yes.
You're not making a lot of money when you first start out.
They offered me a full-time job at Wesley, and I was like, okay, what? It was like $30-some thousand, and I'm like, no. Like,
it's tough. It's tough.
No, I can't do that.
Because being a teacher is so
yes. It's significantly more than that, but not great. So, yeah. And then, I mean, the coaching salaries we get now, tell me about it. Maybe $1,900 after taxes for 365 days of work.
Say less. I'm signing up right now.
Well, assistants,
don't do the math on the hour. Don't do it. Just get discouraged real quick.
Third of a penny per freaking hour, dude. It's stupid.
That's why it's a calling, man. Like it's not for everybody, and it's not for everybody. But it depends on what you want to do with it.
Yeah, 100%.
you could be a dad needs to fill in a spot.
Yeah.
You know, like hey, this coach left, and you know you're really just doing it to be there with your kid for your kid, and that's incredibly admirable that you're going to give up your time to go and coach, whether it's little league or high school or whatever it is. But you know, like guys like us, it's like that's not something that you can just go into and just like dip your feet. You got to dive in head first into the deep end, and so. Yeah, man, it's definitely a calling. It's definitely a calling.
Yeah, we're not doing it for the $1,900. Right. We would not be in the weight room 3 to 4 days a week during school, after school, 4 days a week during the summer. Plus the 7-on-7, we wouldn't be doing it. So, but like, so you did play a year at Salisbury, and you talked about getting on the team at as the punt team and special teams, which is like an in for a lot of people.
100%.
And but like, what did the day look like at Salisbury for you between school and football?
So we had lifting or film at 5 in the morning, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then if you lifted at 5, you had film at 6, or vice versa. You know, you switched off days with the defense, but 5 and 6. So you're really done at 7:15. Go home real quick, take a shower, hit the commons or the calf or whatever it is, wherever you go, eat breakfast, go to class. You got your 2 or 3 classes a day. And then on Tuesdays, and I think it was Tuesdays and Wednesdays, we had special teams meetings. I was on the punt team, and I was a backup short snapper for field goal. And so we had our special teams meeting, usually lasting anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Get out of there, go eat lunch, go back to class. Practice at 3 or 4, whatever it was. Practice for 2.5 to 3 hours, and then come home, and you're a freshman. So then you have your 5 hours of study hall that you got to get during the week.
Right.
And then, on Wednesday night every week we had a team meeting, and that started at 7. And that team meeting was 30 minutes to an hour. So you're talking, you're waking up at 4:30, 4:45, and you are not done on any given day until 8:30 at night. And that's if, and then by the way, you got a paper due on Friday.
Of course,
that's 7 pages long on whatever.
Of course.
But that's kind of like the day in the life, man. It never stops.
It's just crazy how much different the schedules are. Like, because obviously you guys have to watch a lot of film, so that eats up a lot of time. But like baseball, we just got up in the morning, worked out, went to class, then went to practice, got another workout
too, though.
Yeah, we did have study hall, but nothing compared to that. I was back to the room by
we did have to
6 o'clock.
You had to sign in and log your hour a day.
Yep.
5 days a week.
Yeah.
And then and then you got Friday, and then you got Saturday, and then you get 1 day off on Sunday, and that's typically spent getting ready or watching your own film from the big day before,
or just sleeping, because we were in the Empire 8 conference, driving 9 hours to go up to upstate New York to play Ithaca, Buff State, all those schools. So like you're not getting back until
You missed
1 in the morning or 2 in the morning on Sunday.
You missed the NJAC days, yeah.
Yeah, you missed, yeah, I did miss the NJAC days, but it's very time demanding, man. You know, especially for football. And like I said, I can't speak. You gave us insight to baseball. I can't speak for basketball or any other sport, but man, it's like a lot of kids nowadays say, man, yeah, I want to go to D1. I want to be D1. And first off, you're like, dude, just go play in college, period.
Yes.
And you're a stud.
Right. Yes.
But on top of it, like, dog, if you're playing college football, man, it's a lot. And you better make sure that is really what you want to do.
Right. Yeah, because you can get
really
burned
got
out
to make sure.
quick. Yeah,
you really do.
We have had this conversation damn near every single episode, but I can't stress it enough. Like, if you're listening and you want to go play college sports, just be ready. Like, it's a lot. Like, that coach that's their job, right?
100%.
That is their life. That's a way to make their living.
They feed their family.
Yes, and like they're not trying to like mess around with you if you're not coming to give it your all, because they'll get rid of you quick.
Right.
And it like that. This conversation shouldn't like scare somebody from playing it.
Yeah.
But know what you're getting into. But at the end of the day, it is worth it.
Oh.
It's 100% worth it to know that you're a part of. And granted, I only played 1 year, but there's guys that I still know. But like, you stick it out and you play those 4 years, 5 years, if you're a redshirt, whatever it is, man. Like you've joined a fraternity
for life.
Nobody else can say that they're a part, or very few people can say that they're a part of, and I think that's a really, really big deal. It's just always stick it out, man, if you can. If there's no injury, if there's no stuff going on at home with your family, whatever, like stick it out, and you're going to be much, much better for it.
Right. Yeah,
very rewarding.
I don't care what level you're at. We were D3, and yes, we were granted, both us and Salisbury at the time were top 25, but like. Yeah, it was just like, even the coaches that stayed there and that played there, that stayed the coach, and it was like, you just saw, we talked about it, like Joe talked about why he wanted to go there, because it was just like, people didn't want to leave.
Family.
Because 100%. It was just, Wesley was everything to everybody. Salisbury's, whatever school, you have to put that much time into it that there's no, like, I'm so invested into this. I'm not leaving. You're buying in. And I'm never going to forget every single second I invested into this. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
So, yeah. So, yeah, we kind of move on to, like, kind of your Elkton time now. And you've been coaching at Elkton for how long total?
My first full year after graduation was 2018. Okay. But I want to say 2015 or 16. I came back and I was an exercise science major at the time in college, and I asked Coach Feeney, I'm like, hey, like, I just want to get a foot in the door. Yep. Like, can I design your off-season strength and conditioning program? I had just taken the classes. I talked to Matt Nine, the head coach at Salisbury for sports performance, who's an absolute dog. He's a great sports performance coach. But I just said, I just want to do your summer workouts. And then that kind of parlayed into like, oh, hey, if you're still home, for X amount of time until you go to Salisbury for school, like, stick around camp, like, just be around. And that was just kind of the start of it. So it turned into, in 2017, like, I ended up coming home on Friday nights, a college kid coming home to be a part of a Friday Night Lights scene, right? But, I came home in 2017 every Friday night, was up in the booth, and just, giving whatever guidance and help that I could from there, being a young kid. And then I ended up getting the job at Elkton in 2018, teaching gym and health. And from there, Coach Feeney was like, hey, you want to be the offensive coordinator? I said, absolutely. Yeah. Let's go, man. Let's ride. So that was a dream come true, man. It was an awesome opportunity, and I shout out to Coach Feeney for just letting me do it and letting me rock.
Yeah.
So
do we think he's listening?
Coach Feeney?
He'll be listening.
Yeah, I mean,
he'll be. So I told him about it today, and he was like, that's a cool idea.
Yeah,
you got to have him on, man. He's like, you want to.
Well, we're gonna have Vaughn on, so we can have all the AD perspectives and former coaching.
Well, let's just get them in the room together. You just let them hash it out.
Yeah. Why not?
Well, they're ADs now. They're in there. They're cool now. Yeah, they got that AD bond.
That's right. But you want to talk about, like, you had a lot of great words, and I appreciate that you said at the beginning about it. But You want to talk about culture and building something from the ground up.
Yeah.
Like Matt Feeney is the dude for that. Like if you ever want to talk about culture and making an impact as a coach in the community, man, you got him. He's the man.
Let's put him on the list.
Yeah, for sure.
Only if you're listening.
And and Feeney will love this cave that you guys have.
Finally, somebody that
filled
can
with
appreciate it.
green. He'll come down and appreciate it. You probably got to kick him out after.
I haven't had a guest that come down here
hours.
and said, "Oh, there's stinking eagle stuff in here."
Anthony liked it, but that was
Oh,
it.
you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Anthony. But yeah, so we got those. I've definitely got to get those guys on. I mean, shoot, we'll start getting more episodes a week. But like, so you started coaching, and like we talked about the culture, but like, where do you draw your influence? What's your biggest influence from how you coach now?
Man, so many people. I mean, from the ground up, like I said, I started as a 6-year-old playing Elkton junior football. The Shinnick family, Pop Shinnick, the head man, like he just taught me about what it was really like to be passionate, have Elkton pride. He was so heavy on having pride for what you do and being able to do something that you can work hard and be proud of. Right. So shout out to him for that, and the whole Shinnick family. They were great to me as my time through Elkton junior football. And then on top of it, with Coach Feeney, once again, just teaching me, like I said, and you talk about influence. When I got into coaching, I was like, oh, X's and O's. Like, I want to be the best OC in the world. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was very, very football focused and like the actual art and science of football. But he opened my eyes to, this is why you coach. It's for the kids. It's not for anybody else. And, he was the one that really opened my eyes and like how to care about the kids and know why you're doing it and to make an impact on the community. And there's nothing better than like getting a text from an old player saying like, Coach, how you been? Or, seeing a kid. So definitely some influence there. And then Sean Lenz, he was my coach my senior year. Man, he's the man. But he just taught an influence about standards and never compromising them ever, and always coming to practice every single day with one thing in mind, and that was making us better football players, better young men, but never compromise the standards and the rules. This one might be a little controversial. Jason Thomason, shout out to him, because he was the one guy that kind of taught me about extreme ownership. There's no such thing as a kid that like can't do the job. It's our job to get them to do it. Right. At the end of the day, bar none, like that is your job as a coach, is to figure it out. Figure out how that kid learns, figure out what does he need to be successful. Taught me a lot. Mike Means up at Oxford taught me the RPO game. So, yeah, shout out to him. He's a great coach. He coached at Bell. He's another guy who was in accounting for a little bit of time. But
damn, Elkton got too good at the RPO.
But, he was great. Gave me a lot of time. And then Eric Day, I mentioned him before, but he coached at Dell State. He did a clinic for our whole staff back in 2017, I think it was. And he was just like, hey, I coached at Division I level, and I'd love to come do a spread clinic for you guys, because his kid played on the team at that time. So he's been kind of like the X's and O's mentor, and I can always go to him if I ever have a scheme problem or anything like that. But, yeah, and then lastly, shout out to the guys at Smyrna, man, and some Wesley influence there, a lot of Wesley influence there. Coach Judy.
Coach Soft.
Yeah, Coach Judy, Coach Soft, both of those being Wesley guys, but they have taken a lot of time out to, like, talk ball with me. Drive down there on, like, a Wednesday, and me and Coach Judy ended up talking football for, like, 5 hours. All about culture, all that kind of stuff. And Coach Mark's down there, Dan Wagner, like, they're all great guys, man. And like, just so it comes from a lot of people. I know that was really long-winded, but
it's good.
Never forget where you came from, man, and never forget the people that had an influence on you. And that's that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Right. And I love that you brought up like your very first junior football coach.
Absolutely.
Like we talk about the youth athletics in this area a lot, and how important it is for people to, coaches especially, to have an impact on the youth sports in this area, and like what it can do to people like you, like you grow up and now your future has become, coaching, and you've lived this life. And like Anthony Cimarosi is a great example of that, like how much he does for the youth wrestling programs.
Yeah,
like there's going to be a lot of kids that probably grow up and always remember how much of an influence he was
Absolutely.
on them. So,
and they're moldable in high school, but if you can get them when they're young, and you coach them then, and like nobody ever forgets their first,
Right.
whether it was good, bad, ugly, in between, like fantastic. Everybody always remembers who their first coach was,
Right.
or the first one that had an impact on them. Man, so Ant's doing great stuff with the youth program. And the high school program. I mean, they're Rising Sun Wrestling is an absolute wagon, and just the fact that he's putting in, he goes to high school practice and then goes to youth practice after that.
Right.
God bless him.
It's a late night because when I come back and work baseball or basketball games, they go till 8:30 and they're practicing past us.
Right. Yeah, man.
They're getting it in there, and like you
he's-
talk to us, there's so many different levels, so they're just like practicing all night long. So it's like it's ridiculous how long they go. But
is Coach Soft the one that ran the summer workouts?
Yes, when you were doing it, and before Coach Nowakowski came.
Okay,
and he was my line coach for 2 years, and then he ended up just stopping, and then picking up at. Because Coach Judy had just taken over at Smyrna, so he went to Smyrna with him.
Gotcha.
And they started building, obviously, the powerhouse that is.
Wagon.
I literally did not know who he was at all.
Coach
And Alex
Soft,
just took me to the first workout, and we walk in, and Alex is like, "Hey, Coach Soft, Shane, this is my buddy Shane. He's just going to work out with us." And he just comes up and just shakes the hell out of my hand. He's like, "Let's win a game."
Yeah.
I'm like,
Dude.
all right.
Energy unmatched. And I know Coach Soft has been hitting me up about the podcast, so I hope you're listening.
My man.
Big shout out.
Big
Coach
shout out
Soft.
to
We
Coach
love
Soft.
it. I'm gonna throw a question that's not in on the list here.
Okay.
This is a question from a viewer here, and two questions. But
okay.
So the first one is, which O-line coach had the biggest impact on your play style, and then obviously how did that change your view of the offensive line position?
On my play style, man. Coach Fleetwood at Salisbury, dude. He was old school, and I'll never forget him walking out on the practice field.
Coach
the
Trask
first
and
day.
Coach Fleetwood did not like each other.
But so similar, I'm sure, in so many ways, because they were just tough. I mean, and yet, like I talk about Coach Lenz with like the standard being the standard, and like he's never going to tell you like, "Oh, hey, good job," if you didn't meet it. Coach Fleetwood was to the 9 with that, and I mean, like if you didn't do something right, you knew it, and he let you know it, and he made sure that he was going to try to get you to never do it again. But like he was just tough as nails, man, and he coached tough as nails, and like on the O line. I mean that's what it's all about. Nobody likes a nice lineman, you know what I mean. So he was a mean old guy, but he developed great offensive linemen. He was a great coach and has put in a lot of years. And so I'd say his mentality was just like it was what I do with my O line today. You know, coaching O line now. Gotta be a dog.
And then the second question was, so you were able to play on the varsity team in high school at a young.
Who sent these questions, by the way? Was it Ryan?
You were able to play on the varsity team in high school at a young age. Which teammate helped you transition from middle school to varsity ball, and why was it Ryan Moore?
And why was it? What a guy!
I called him. I said, "You gotta send me a question to ask."
That guy, man. Shout out to Chemo, dude. He was we used to ride in his car everywhere. Me, him, Curtis Buckland, Josh Miller. Like, man, we ran together all the time, and he was just a great dude, great friend. I hope he's doing well right now, but I'm sure he is. But man, Chemo, man, I'm sorry I didn't say Coach Smith. Chemo. I think he was trying to go Coach Smith is an absolute legend, man. May he rest in peace. He was awesome. One of the most knowledgeable old school wing T guys that I've ever been around. Man, he was great.
Yeah, shout out to Curtis Buckland as well. That was a name drop right there.
Yeah, hey man, it's my boy, man.
He might be listening. So him and I go back a long way with baseball.
Yeah. So anyway, I asked Ryan to send me a couple questions, and I read that second one. I'm like, there's no way I'm getting through that with a straight face and making it seem like this is a serious question. I couldn't do that, but
what a guy!
Oh shoot! Oh my gosh! We'll ask one more question, then we'll do our we'll get a little trivia action there.
Trivia,
so,
right.
Anthony came prepared and asked us questions.
Oh, I got questions.
Oh, you got questions for us too. I love it. So how was he asked me and he asked Shane about how you deal with all. It's kind of the same thing, but how was your transition from assistant to head coach, and what was your biggest challenges that you faced while doing so?
The biggest thing is is the admin side of things. And when I say that, it's like it's the fundraising, it's the setting the schedules and the off season and running a golf tournament, the crab raffle, like all these things. And by the way, huge shout out to my touchdown club, the Plants. You guys are awesome.
Let's go, baby.
Please stick around because they really do a great, very, very selfless job and helping us raise money for the program. So big shout out to them. But yeah, it's just like, you get called in the office now because a kid got in trouble in school. And it's like, before, that's not even on my radar.
But you were worried about it, but it came to Feeney's desk.
Right. And it's like, you deal with a parent. Parent comes to you and like, my head coach is over there. Right. You know what I mean? But so I think that is the biggest change, man. It's just now you're really 365. Like there's no other way to do it if you really, in my opinion, want to be successful or want to make an impact on the kids. So now, like, I was an offensive coordinator. I was just like, coach during football season and go to clinics in the off season, help out in the weight room when I could, but it wasn't mandatory that I was there every day. And, coach 7-on-7, roll right into the season. But it's kind of like, if anybody's ever watched The Last Dance, I love that documentary about Jordan in the 95, 96 Bulls. Dennis Rodman had the famous quote. He said, "Man, I play basketball for free. I get paid to deal with the bullshit." You know what I mean? Right. But it's like that really is the truth. And the amount that we get paid. But,
probably not the same as Dennis Rodman.
You know this too, man. Coaching ball is the easy part. The fall is the easy part. Right. Whatever season you're in is like, you're telling me that I just get to go to practice for 2.5, 3 hours a day or whatever it is. Like, that's the dream. Yeah. Like, just coaching football is the dream. Oh, yeah. Like, dealing with everything else, like, that's, heavy is the head that wears the crown, and we feel that all the time. But, yeah, I'd say that's really the hardest part about the transition is just dealing with the extras and knowing that at the end of the day, you are responsible for the entire direction of the organization that you're running. Yeah.
And on top of both of us, like, being PE teachers, like, we're just, there's no break from it. You're in it 24/7.
None.
Yeah, you have like a conversation with a kid every single time they're doing something wrong in school, or you just want to talk. You just want to talk football or life, and it's like, and then you get your couple hours at home, and then you start over again.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, that's what makes the difference between a good coach and a great coach is like you're saying, like, going out there and coaching, that's the easy part. Doing football, I mean, that's so just easy. What you're good at. But all the stuff you're doing behind the scenes that nobody sees, that's what separates you. Because I guarantee there's a lot of coaches, other places that aren't doing that stuff.
Yeah, it definitely happens. But like I know you when Anthony was on, you guys were talking about like quality coaches being brought back to Cecil County. Like I think we do have that in spades right now. I really do, and. There's a lot of people, like I know Ethan Klein, like you guys talked about him, like he's doing a lot of work at Elkton behind the scenes. Like our track coach, Coach Ben, is great. We really do have quality coaches, man, and I just don't want it to go for granted amongst the community and the kids. Like there's people here that care about their school, their community, the kids that are in it, developing the leaders of tomorrow, all those things, man. So there is a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes, and you don't always get thanked for it, but you don't do it for thanks. If you're coaching high school ball to get the thanks, man, I got nothing for you. You know what I mean? But
and that's like a big part of what we're trying to do here too. Is like give the county some recognition, because when a lot of people, especially like some of the high school students, are like, "Ugh, Cecil County, like I can't wait to get out of this place." It's like there's just this small little town, but like there is a lot of potential here.
Yeah, there absolutely, man. Yeah. Grass ain't always greener on the other side, man. I know it's cliche, but it really is true.
I couldn't go live anywhere else now, living in like the small town Rising Sun. I would just be, I'm so too impatient, man. I drive up to like just not even a city, and I'm like, oh God, there's too many people here, man. There's nowhere to park.
Right. I hear you.
Dude, the traffic jam in Rising Sun is an Amish buggy and two trucks.
Man, you pass them going about 60 on a back road, so... Yeah, I tell you what, it's Cecil County in general is just there's a lot of people that do a lot of things, and don't always get thanked, but if we were doing it for the thanks, then
we'd do it for the kids.
We'd be going out there like, this is what I did. I did this crab fundraiser. Absolutely. I started this fundraiser. Like,
Feeney started it. I can't.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'm running this crab fundraiser.
No.
But no, so like, man, you guys sold a lot of numbers, man. You guys do good on that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Feeney's the brainchild, man. just running a lot of things. And that, like, I know you talked about that in your episode with Ant too, was like, is there a whole lot different that you can do? Like when you're making the transition from assistant coach to head coach, being from the staff, like you put your spin on 1 to 2 things, but like off-season weight room is still the weight room.
Yep.
They're still running it 3 days a week.
Yep.
You're still doing that. Like all of those, like you're still doing your 7-on-7. Like, so the structure of the football end of it and the culture end of it, like, and I came in with a Cadillac.
Yeah,
like
shouldn't change too much,
Feeney built something that was so great. Excuse me, guys. Sorry. Feeney built something that was so great, and like coming into it, I'm like, do I want the keys to this thing right now? You know what I mean? And it was like, I just don't run it into the Jersey wall on the side of 95, but it's really easy to pick up on, like going from assistant coach to head coach, like within that same organization. You just realize the other responsibilities that you have.
Yeah, completely different coming into a new thing where you're just having to rebuild your entire message and your ideal on somebody else. I mean, completely different. And we both got it pretty easy. I mean, like Vaughn and Feeney both set the tone. And while we were both there as assistants, we got this sprinkle in our culture as well. And it's like, all right, well, let's just pick it up. Let's ride and roll with it.
The kids know you. I mean, if you don't have any staff turnover, like they know you. So you're like, it's nice to be a part of a well-oiled machine, and then just kind of like hop into it and know that you're not going to have all of the same struggles that some other coaches might have starting out. So
100%. So. All right, well, let's do it. Let's get into a little bit. You ready to get quizzed here?
Yeah, man.
Trivia?
Let's do it.
Let's play this music. Oh, play my music.
There it is.
Play my theme song. All right.
Let's do it.
All right, so
is it? So Pop's culture got all 3 or 2 out of 3?
He got 2 out of 3.
And Anthony got 2.5 out of 3.
Whoa.
All right,
Whoa. We're doing half points out here.
2. He got 2. He got 2. Because so his questions were insane. Because, like, it was like, what was your record? And it was like, bang, bang. He's like, okay. You were off by 1. What was the final score of your senior match in states? Oh, 8-6. I'm like, what? Okay. So anyway, we'll see what you got here.
Let's see.
So I found I'm going to highlight your ESPN recruiting page.
I got that from going to the Spark
picture up and
Combine.
put it in front of there. A young strapping Mike Rossi.
Oh my God.
So what was your 40 time that was posted on your ESPN recruiting page?
All right, so I do know that when I went to the Spark Combine, oddly enough, on the laser, I ran a 5.54. I don't know if I'm thinking that's what it is, but I was shocked because I was like, I thought the laser time was supposed to be slower. Like a 5.54 is like the fastest 40
for a big guy. You were listed at 274.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say 5.54. Or a 5.78. I don't know.
Is it possible you wrote it wrong?
No. Okay. I'm going to look it up, but it was 5.45.
5.45.
Yeah.
Dyslexic.
Yeah, sorry. All right, half a point for the learners. All right, on that same page. Oh, sorry, not on that same page, but on your huddle page, your senior huddle recruiting page.
Okay.
What was your listed squat?
Ooh.
425. I want to say that's my guess. That's my shot.
Shortchanging yourself, man.
425.
Shortchanging yourself.
I may have pumped it up a little bit.
Well, it was 450 on the spot.
450.
450. Yeah, it was 750. No, I was kidding. So 450 on the huddle page.
I know
That's
that.
still really impressive coming out of high school. Holy shit!
Well, I know. So I know Coach Lenz, like he wouldn't. He wouldn't let us max our squat. We got to...
We do 95% at Razin.
I think we got to like 365, and he said if you're going to go over it, you're just going to rep. And then he put it into a formula. And I don't really know. And I was like super meathead in high school. And Chemo can probably attest to this. We benched like 3 times a week.
Well, we've talked about that multiple times on the show.
Absolute worst shoulder pain now in my life ever because I just thought it was like inflated lat syndrome. Like,
amazing.
Like I'm a big dude. Yeah. But benching 3 times a week doing no rowing exercises just because I thought
no
that bench was life.
No rear delts.
No rear delts. None at all. No traps. But so I like my squat number. I was like, I don't know. But I can tell you exactly how many times I repped out 225 on the bench.
How many was that?
I got 17.
That's pretty.
My senior year of high school.
That's awesome for senior high school.
Going into Salisbury. So I guess you could say my freshman year of college. But
that would impress anybody coming into as a freshman coming out of high school. Yeah, because we had the 225 or the 185 test, which I thought at Wesley, I'm like, really, like. Are we this? If they can't do it, they can't do it. Like,
right.
Yep. But we had Steve Caduso, who was just blazing fast, and it didn't matter how much he benched.
So. Also have the perfect build for the bench press, perfect T-Rex arms, huge broad shoulders,
like big, 6 inches, dog.
Big case, like when you inflate that thing, it's like I got like a good 6 inches here to the lockout.
I told Ryan, I said we had a squat question. He goes, "Well, ask him about his bench." Oh boy!
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if you get this one. So, how many points did your offense put up this past season?
Total points.
Now this is off of max preps, which is obviously not always great, but
I'm gonna say we were. Man, this is a real shot in the dark because I don't know.
This is really hard, actually.
I don't make it easy, man.
I'm trying to think about how many points we scored in this game. I'm gonna say that it was 280.
That's
my ballpark.
Not bad.
It's good that you're shortchanging because you're 313.
313. Okay, we got up over 300.
What is that average per game? What is
we played 11 games.
You played 11 games, so yeah, almost like 28 points a game or something like that.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. That's pretty good
math. I know it is. I'm really good.
Genius.
You sure you should be teaching PE?
Yes. I'm good at plate math.
Plate math.
And getting people in teams math. Like, all right, we got this many people. I need 4 teams. All right, I got that. So that still takes me a second. Okay, 0 for 3, Ross. No, I don't make it easy. Where'd you play college football? 1 for 1.
I told you, man. I had a lot of concussions.
Yeah, CTE kicks in fast. I understand that. People like Vaughn will sit around and be like, talk to the old coaches we had. He's like, you remember that play back in '96? I'm like, dude, I can't remember who I played my homecoming game junior year. I swear I can't remember.
It's tough, right?
They all just blend together, man. I don't know.
I tell Whitney the same thing. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I have it. I was knocked out like. I can vividly remember being knocked out like 3 or 4 times in high school.
Undiagnosed.
Yeah, there's a little something there. For sure.
You're still kicking.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Man, we're here. Good. We're thriving right now.
And now you're like rolling around on the mats, smacking your head around. It's not making it any better. So.
Choked out a couple times. It's fine.
Yeah, right.
The old chest rub works real good.
Multiple brain cells being killed. All right, so moving on here.
Hit him with the mid-show sponsor.
Oh yeah, let me shout out Kenny Page here. So I just want to take a second to shout out one of our sponsors, Kenny Page Sports Photography. Kenny Page is a photographer local to Cecil County who specializes in sports action photos and individual and team portraits. As a Rising Sun High School alumni, Kenny loves supporting his local community while staying involved in sports. Interested in more info on pricing and booking availability? Reach out via email to kennypagesportsphotography@gmail.com, and be sure to follow him on Instagram at Kenny Page Sports, or find him at Facebook at Kenny Page Sports Photography. And I know he's been working with doing more like individual shots and stuff like that. So, you know, got anybody Elkton looking to get a nice senior shot.
Little senior action.
Yeah, I know he's he keeps telling me he wants to throw those little bubbles that you see him light the fire on, throw the ball up and stuff.
There you go.
So, yeah, he's doing some good stuff. And he just shot some new stuff, or, you know, shot the Rising Sun game, and his pictures are always great. So, give him a shout out. Find him on Facebook or Instagram, or shoot him an email, and you can buy his pictures off his website as well. So yeah, Kenny Page Sports Photography.
And if you are a coach, he's been doing some whole team stuff.
Oh, cool.
He did some Northeast softball stuff, and so if you're a head coach and you want to get the whole team done, hit him up.
All right. There you go. So we got a few questions left, and you mentioned Smyrna, and I'll never forget it. And this was literally just last year, but I still never forget it. And we were already doing it before, but I was stopped in your room as you were about to set up after a PD day, and you were setting up for film.
Yep.
And we were talking about Salisbury because we were, you know, obviously playing each other next week, and we were just talking about your previous scrimmage, and your question was just like, how do we instill like that amount of culture in our schools, which I think we're doing a good job. We're doing a great job of, and not to, you know, pat ourselves in the back or anything, but like, what have you done maybe differently, or something that maybe you've tried differently to, you know, get that culture going in your program?
So it's probably the most controversial topic because I hear a lot of people talk about it. But after going to a session with Coach Judy, he was talking about the benefits of two-platoon football in high school football. Now, anybody that doesn't know, two-platoon football is what you see on Saturdays and Sundays, NFL and college. It's you have 11 guys to play offense, you have 11 guys to play defense, you have your role players and your package players and blah, blah, blah. But I sat there in that clinic and everything that he said made sense. And I said, this guy is a proven winner. He's got like 4 or 5 state championships in like 8 to 10 years, something crazy. Like
3 in a row.
They're doing a great. They're doing a great. Yeah, 3 in a row at one point. They're doing a great job, and I think that when we would watch them play, like it's very clear that their fundamentals and all of the basics and the little things that they do were a tier above a lot of other teams, in my opinion. And that's my coaching eye when I see it on the field. It's like all just the little things that maybe the person that's never coached hasn't seen before, but I was like, man, like why can't we do this? Like why can't we be a two-platoon team? And the traditional thinking in the history of high school football has always been the same. It's the same 11 or 15 guys that are always on the field all the time. And they're for 46 out of 48 minutes. Yep. They're on the field. And all of those other guys are just playing special teams because you want to get your best player a break. You want to get this guy or that guy a break. So, and this is something that we've never experienced, but like look at it from the kid's perspective of who is playing special teams or the next guy on the depth chart. Like, how can you ask a kid, and I'll bring it back to the culture at one point, but how can you ask a kid who comes to workouts all the time, gets good grades, never gets in trouble in school, he is at every community service event that you do, like in the traditional old school, I'll say dinosaur, and I know that might be controversial, but in that way of thinking, you lose that kid. And that's a very, very, very a kid that could benefit your program in a great way. So to me, I even Coach Vini tried it back in 18 and 19, like when we had a lot of dudes, like we were blessed with a lot of talent, and me and the defensive coordinator, we were sitting there like, gotta have that guy. Like I gotta have that guy. Like there's no way that we could do this whole two-platoon thing. Like like this kid is better than the kid that's replacing him. But in reality, like we're educators. A two-platoon player who might be a role player, or he might be like, your corner that might be a little bit undersized and can't run as much. Dude, you can give that kid a job on the field in your scheme that is going to make him thrive. Yeah, right. And on top of that, if I get a kid who is a freshman and I play him at one position, number one, he's coming to practice every single day, and he is getting 4 days worth of education in a week that if I'm not a two-platoon team, he's getting 1.5 days at corner and 1.5 days at receiver. And then, like, on Thursday when you're really, really specifically game planning, like, all right, hey, like, you're going to be the nickel corner this week, so you might get the practice. But my guy who, and this is what the way that Coach Judy explained it, if I got a kid that's playing O-line as a freshman and he did it all year, 4 days a week, I've accelerated his learning way faster.
By at least a year.
At the end of the year, I think I have a guy who's really like a sophomore developing into a junior, but I know he's coming into a sophomore year. And once again, to like, my senior year, by week 7 or week 8, we had 18 guys on our roster. Between guys that quit, failed all, like whatever it was. Granted, like you can't run a two-platoon system with 18 guys. Sure. Literally, the math doesn't match. Yeah. But like I think about some of those kids that may have quit, and once again, I've never been in those shoes. Yeah. Like I not toot my own horn, I started on varsity as a freshman, and so I never knew what it was like to just stand on the sideline and watch a game until I got to college, and like being in that, I'm like, man, like other than the Wesley game, I'm like, shit's kind of boring. like you know what I mean? Like it was a tougher time to find that buy-in for me personally to go to practice for 5 days a week in college for 2.5 hours a day. And like, I might get a couple reps. Yeah. All right, okay, hey, Wednesday, Thursday at special teams, like run out on the field, do my punt. And I embraced my role. But like, think about that in a high school kid's context. Right. Like, he's not playing at the next level. Like, he's coming out to join the football team because, like, maybe it's good for him. Maybe he just doesn't want to be in his house. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bad situation at home or whatever. But as far as culture goes and how it drives it, I want to make the kids feel valued.
Right.
Like, you come here, you have a job. I really want you to take pride in that job. The likelihood that you're going to see the field faster is like, I don't know how any parent could ever hate it, because it's like your kid is closer to the field at every step of the way. And I just like, man, I think that I can't blame a kid for quitting a sport that he puts hours and hours and years into, and like just knowing, because your best receiver is your best corner. Well, what if my best receiver gets to practice receiver for 4 days and he's fresh all the time, and that kid that plays corner, who in high school football is going to get the ball thrown his way 5 times max a game, and it's not anything to the deficit of that kid playing corner, but what it is like, dude, we got a job for you. Be here, be to practice. Like, you feel more a part of the team because you know that you got a job, and that's how you preach accountability. Right. Like, over the summer when we were doing 7-on-7 last year, I'm like, yo, guys, you have to do your part. Because for us, if you don't show up to workouts, you don't play 7-on-7. It's the same way that, like, in the season, if you don't come to practice, you don't play. Yeah. And there's a system that we have, like, you don't come to practice, you miss a quarter, whatever. I'm not going to get into the details of it, but, like, I want that same thing now, because I want to know who I'm going to be able to rely on. And if that's a good kid out there and I can trust that kid, and he's never lied to me and he shows up all the time, like, as a coach, I shouldn't be judged by the stud that I have, the 2,000-yard running back. If you got a running back who's great, or like in a baseball sense, like if your 3-hitter is just a guy that's going to go play Division I college baseball, like, I can still coach that kid, but I should not take credit wholeheartedly. Like, I'm a coach. Look at this guy that I sent to University of Delaware or whatever. Like, man, that kid is huge. He hits missiles on a baseball field, or he's 6'3", 220, and runs a 4.6 40 on a football field. That kid's going to go places as long as his grades are right. He's got good character, good family, all that, and he handles his recruiting well. But like last year, we had 2 guys on our team. One of them, both of them, God love them, really hardworking kids. Always did the right thing, 4.0 GPAs. And it's like, could they have played in a non-2 platoon model? Probably. Did they thrive in 2 platoon? Were like they bought in more, and then both of them had the opportunity to go play college football because of that? Dude, I'll take that every day of the week. Right. And if my record suffers because, whoever's in the stand saying, put so-and-so at corner, then nah. Like, I'm cool with that. And, I might take a lot of flack for that, but, like, our job at the end of the day is to get kids to be successful fathers, uncles, cousins, go to college, if that's their path, play in college, like, develop good people and develop leaders that are going to go in their community and try and do good things. So, at the end of the day, to wrap it back to the culture point, what I did was try to take that 2 platoon model, new thinking, just because I didn't want to do the same thing over and over again and perpetuate a cycle that I don't think is beneficial to the kid that might need it the most. And that's kind of like, and I like to think that I have a little bit more buy-in from the kids because of that, but that's just kind of like, I don't know, that's how I did it, man. And just, preaching to them, like, show up and do your part so that we can kind of make this thing a reality, because nobody else really does it. And after coaching in it last year, I don't know if I could ever go back. It was the best season of football technically, I think, that we've had, even though our record was 4-7 and it may not have reflected that. We were in 3 games we lost by a touchdown. We had to lead against Edgewood, had a turnover, had another turnover, and then it turned into what it did. But like, there was no like, damn, Jimmy, like how do you not remember your job, or hey, Johnny, like, you didn't fill the A gap. It's like, we were there. We were there, and fundamentally the kids knew what they had to do. Sometimes it was just a question of like, we tripped or
make a play.
We didn't make a play when it came to us. But it was the most fun. And you talk about building a culture within your team, like that O-line that I had, man, that was my favorite unit that I think I've ever coached. I was with them every single day. The D-line coach didn't get him. The linebackers coach didn't get him. I had him. And, like, I took a lot of pride in that. And so that's just kind of how we did it. And once again, shout out to the guys at Smyrna because they kind of opened my eyes to it. And sorry, Coach Feeney, that we didn't do it back in 2018, 2019. Probably would have been really successful with it. But, you know, we were kind of stuck in that old frame of mind.
Sure.
And I just, like, at the end of the day, when it comes to two platoon, like, I want to be judged by how we as a staff brought up the kid that never had a chance to play, and did we turn him into something that was like he had a good time and can say, I got a great football education at Elkton High. Like, even if I was just a role player, like, we did it right.
Yeah.
And our coach, like, the coaches cared, we put in the time, and that's kind of like the little spin, I guess you could say, that we put on it. So, but that's it, man. I know I went on a tangent there.
I was going to say,
riffed a little bit.
That's it. That was a hell of an answer. Here's the deal.
So,
it doesn't need to be me talking the whole time. I'd rather the guest be talking, which is that's awesome that you had that answer. It's good stuff.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, we
agree
like
with everything.
I mean, listening to it, like, you know, we try to do it at Rising Sun as well, and you know, you talk about like the numbers game and stuff like that. You run into that a lot, and it's just like that's just Cecil County in general. I mean, that's probably been the way since you played it.
Yeah, 100%.
Now we're coaching it. It's like you get who you get, and you see guys walk in the hall. You're like, what are you doing, man? Like, why are you not
trying to recruit your
why
hallways?
are you not on the football team? So it's like, but anyway, you know, you play with what you got.
Yeah, you play with what you have, and I would love to sit and say that, like, yeah, if I had 24 guys, like, I would still do it. I would love to be that sold on that idea.
Right.
Like, reality, would it happen? Probably not, but like, there's guys in your organization that are valuable, and let them shine, like, help them. That is your job as a coach.
Right.
Like I said, don't judge me on the Division I player I had. Judge me on the guy that I may have brought up and now has a shot to play Division III, or he just had a really good high school career that nobody may have thought that he would ever have. Like, I think that's the most important thing about being a coach is, like, how do you help that average or below average kid, you know, see something new, meet new people, be a part of an organization. Like, that's what it's about.
Right, yeah. I'd rather somebody leave and just be like, I had a good time, and I learned how to go into the world and not be a jabroni, and just be a successful, you know, individual.
Yeah, for sure.
And like you said, if you know we went 1-9, you went 4-6, not great, like not what we're used to, and not what we want to see, but like. Yeah, I mean, but like those players are still people that, you know, valued their time, and we
absolutely
we still practice hard as hell until the last game, and it was like, and I those guys that, you know, granted we didn't have maybe 2 people leave us, but it was just like, listen guys, like you're the same. I'm going to coach you like we're 9-0, and you're going to practice and play like you're 9-0. And if you're not, right, you're not part of the culture, and we want you to be a part of it.
So many coaches that say too, like, the standard is the standard.
Right.
Dog, like, when it comes to competing, I don't care if we're up by 40. I don't care if we're down by 40. I don't care if we're down by 2 or up by 7.
Yeah.
Like, and that was one of the things that, like, my idols, Nick Saban, like, I read it in his book, like, no matter what, but I don't care what the scoreboard says. We all care what the scoreboard says. We're all competitors. Like, everybody, like, nobody's going to sit here and coach and say, like, yeah, I don't care about.
Yeah.
Everybody cares about winning, but like,
but you're not going to let them see that you're not going to say like
sure. And it's like, my linemen hate it, and like, coach, I got pancake. Dog, you took the wrong step. Like, what are you talking about? Like, coach,
you still didn't score out great.
Dog, like, I'm glad you got the pancake. You took the wrong step, like, from the ground up, like, we're not right. And I just, like, it's all about that. It's all about that process.
Yep.
And like I said, if we're up by 7, did you take the right step?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, did you play your coverage the way that you were supposed to? Oh, we're up by 40. Well, did you finish? Did you run to the ball?
Yep.
Like, were you trying to get it on attack? Like, I don't really care what that scoreboard says. I care about the standard. My standard is, like, you give effort no matter what. So if you're lollygagging and BSing or doing whatever, and you're just like, oh, he's got it, like, no. The standard is the standard.
Yep.
Period.
And the cool thing is too, like, you and I specifically, we're still experiencing that because, like, in the jiu-jitsu world, like, I'm assuming you had no wrestling experience.
None.
Neither did
Zero.
I. And you just show up to this thing, and it's like you have not a clue what you're doing.
Not a clue.
But you just gotta keep showing up. You just gotta be coachable. You gotta keep showing up and putting in that effort. And then next thing you know, you got your first stripe. And then next thing you know, you got your second stripe. And then it's like you're just getting constantly rewarded for just showing up, being an athlete, and being coachable.
So there's multiple points to what you said. It's one, I always recommend, like, well, I'm not going to say you're like Joe Rogan or Jocko Willing, say like everybody should do jiu-jitsu, but like going from being an athlete and then being put back in that role. I've never wrestled before. Everybody tried to give me a wrestle in high school. I didn't want to wear the singlet, whatever, and I was like, I'm a hooper. I played 1 year. I played 1 year I played 1 year of JV basketball.
I was a hooper.
I wasn't a hooper, right? And then so anyway, there's different payoffs for different people.
Right.
Like keep showing up is one of the biggest things. That is one of the biggest things that I believe in is always, no matter what, whatever your brain tells you, show up.
Right.
And you will be so glad that you did afterwards. You still might be in a bad mood for 3 hours after you did, but show up to whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's the workout, practice, community service event, like, and we're talking like in terms of like the high school athlete, like always show up no matter what. And like your payoff, maybe it's not like the game-winning touchdown. Right. Like I think that's an important thing to remember for all high school athletes and especially youth athletes. Like the end-all be-all for one kid is not the same for the other. For one kid, it's like, I want to make it to the league. I want to hit the game-winning home. I want to hit the walk-off home run.
It's not always going to be a movie.
Right. It's hard for us to sit here and tell 15, 8, or whatever year old kids, like, hey, everybody's, biggest defining moment is not the game-winning touchdown.
Right.
But whatever you do it for, and this is one of the things that I try to drive home to our guys, is like, you write down your goal on an index card, you write down your why.
Find your why.
My job as a head coach is to hold you to that. It's nothing else. So if your goal is like, hey man, I want to meet some friends, I want to get on the field a little bit, like, I'm gonna hold you to it, but his end all be all is not the same as that kid's. And I think that's one of the beauties about coaching youth sports and high school sports is like you do get that wide array of things. And that's why, like I said, if you're really worried about your win-loss record as a high school coach, we all love to say that we went 9-0.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like, did you service this kid's goal? Or did you service that kid's goal? And it's like the same thing in jiu-jitsu. Like, there's a white belt. He ain't worried about subbing nobody.
Right.
Like, did I get through this round without getting tapped? Did I get through the round without like getting choked out, and my arm bent the wrong way? And so I like, it's very important for everybody, especially the high school athlete, college athlete, youth athlete, and as coaches, anybody that's aspiring to be a coach, make sure that you're servicing your kids' goals, number one, and make sure that the kids know why they're there, what they're doing it for, and what's that goal. You know what I mean? And go chase it. But jiu-jitsu was one of the best things that I ever did for my coaching career. Like getting into it 3 years ago, like in the later end of COVID, like, wow. Like this is what it's like to be the lowest of the low. Like I'm a 6-year-old. I'm a 6-year-old amongst 45-year-old black belts. Like, and it really made me take a step back and like, I really need to coach kids the same way that I would love to learn here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, don't tell me to just do an armbar. Like, you got to break this thing down like 7 steps. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, you take that same approach. Like, I take that same approach now, and I think that it's great for any coach that wants to compete in anything new, just to remind yourself of what it's like. Remind yourself of what it's like to go compete and do something new so that you can gain a little bit of perspective, because I think as the season goes on, it's a grind. The off season's a grind. And no matter what, like, just remind yourself, like, this is what it likes to be new. And it kind of pulls you back into perspective.
Yeah.
You know? So
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. I love that too. Like the off season too. You just get like the kid that's never seen a weight room or something like that. Just even that. Just like we talked about it. Like watching them squat like 95 pounds and turning around and being like, "Let's go! I did it!" And I'm like, "Let's go, dude! Let's go!" Like it's like,
man, that's why you do it.
Right. And it's like in your mind, it's like. But it's like, hell yeah, dude! Like that's you, man. Like you never touched that weight before.
Yeah, you got to be as excited for that kid to hit 95 pounds as the same way that you're excited that your D1 athlete squatted 405.
Sure,
you know what I mean.
Yep.
That's the way it's got to be.
Yeah, so, man. I mean, you guys did jiu-jitsu. I did disc golf. So I mean, like
same thing.
We're in the same plane. Well, you'll love it if you have Ethan on, you'll love it because he's getting into disc golf now.
Go.
Ethan Klein,
We can turn that into a half baseball, half disc golf.
I don't want to spoil anything, but next week.
Oh,
there we go.
All right, that's news to me.
No, it's not news to you. We've texted about it.
Okay, cool. Never mind. CTE. So
You gotta get that trivia ready.
you should, you just hit a lot, and he gives me a lot of trivia too because he posts a lot of stuff on Instagram.
Yeah.
He does good at that. You spoke a lot on that, and I'm jumping questions here just because
good.
you just gave a lot of advice to players, coaches, everything. But like, what's your top 3 things if you're and that's deep, but like,
gotta get
can I
to
change
3.
your question? You can if you have more.
I only got 3. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay,
I can talk for
you can
days,
talk
man.
as much as you want, but like, what advice are you going to give to somebody that's just trying to further their career, whether it's training specific, mindset, academics, all that stuff? Like, what are you trying to instill?
So number 1 is the grass is not always greener on the other side. I know that, like, when you talk about like hometown advantage, what the podcast is about, and shining light on hometown athletes, like, one of the biggest things we always try to get across, and everybody does to teenagers, but I know, like me, I was arrogant.
Sure.
As a high school kid going in to play college football. Like, I'm a state semifinalist. Like,
We were all county. We thought that was like the best thing in
I'm
the
all
world.
conference. I'm honorable mention all state. Like, I went to this NUC National Underclassmen Combine. Like, I got to go to the national one in Oklahoma. Like, there's a lot of people that, and like, my dad, Coach Lenz, my mom, like, a lot of people telling me, like, hey, no matter what, like, you're gonna go play college football. It's gonna be great. And I was just like, I'm going Division One. Division One double A. Like, FCS, I did have that realistic part, and like, I was offered a spot at Towson as a walk-on, and it was like, hey, you're a preferred walk-on. I was like, I'm gonna go start at Salisbury. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not coming to Towson to walk on and wait 3 years. And like, so I had that arrogance, but that's the thing is, like, the grass is not always greener. Like, no matter what, be where your feet are. As a high school kid, and it's so hard because you got your whole life ahead of you. You got prom coming up on Friday, and like, you have all this thing. Like, just be where your feet are. Know that, like, just switching, like, oh, I don't like it here.
Yeah.
Like, switching is not going to solve your problems. Like, and we have that, and it's very evident in the college game now, and it's trickling down into high school. Like, kids are like saying, I got offered by this high school. Excuse me, what? But the grass isn't always greener no matter what. Like, stick it out.
Yeah.
Stick it. And you talk about always show up. Like, just show up, do your thing, and you're trying to get it into an 18-year-old's head. And I know nobody could get it into my head.
It's tough, man.
Like we try nowadays. That's one of my biggest pieces of advice. Just stick it out. Stay where you are. Compete. Have fun while you're doing it. Try to find, like, once again, make it as small as you can. What is your role right now? Write it out. Like, what's my plan for the next year? Like, how am I going to grow? How am I going to get into that spot that I want to be? It's just be where your feet are. Grass ain't always greener on the other side. Stick it out. Show up every day. Like, I think that's one of the biggest things, man. Is just show up, stick it out, and man. And then lastly, stop focusing on the event. Focus on your response to the event. If it's raining outside, man, you can't control it. Like, stop talking about your gloves. Like, oh my God, it's sticky, or it's wet. It's like, no matter what it is, and that, like, parlays into life, is like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter what the event is. Like, you literally have no control over it.
Right.
And I think that's, like, but that's the beauty of what we do, is trying to get young men and young women, for those that coach women's sports, like, to realize those things. Is like, when you get into life, like, dog, this is football practice. Like, this
It's part of your life.
You think this is tough? Like, wait till you're, like, your future kid is looking at you like, oh, Pop, like, is there Cheerios in the pantry or what? And you're like, like that's real pressure. Like people that wake up, and kids love to say that they're grown, and it's like, yo, man, like, and I don't mean that in a bad way, because I thought all the same things, but it's like, what we do here, like, you think it requires a lot of time. You think that it's so tough. Like, man, when we're just training you for down the road.
Yeah, right.
That's the beauty of what we do. That's why we coach, is to say, like, yo, man, like, I'm getting you right. Like, I had one of my players the other day. He's like, Coach, man, I worked 35 hours last week. I'm like, same here, brother. Let's keep it moving.
That's 5 hours less than what you're.
I said, hey, man, we got workouts right now. And he's like, yeah, you're right. And I'm like, yo, bro, like, you know why we do this? And he's like, why? He's like, I'm like, Because when you get to my age and you're a little bit slower and you ain't got as much energy and you might have a kid running around or two, like you've already been through the ringer. You know what I mean?
Pull yourself up for it, man.
100%, dude. 100%.
Tell you what, I mean,
Yeah.
Even the after school lifting now for me, it's like, and I'm sure you experience sometimes, and you know I even tell the kids, it's just like that was a long day, man. Like it's like I love as soon as the weight room hits though, and as soon as I blow that whistle to squat, bench, deadlift, or hang clean or whatever, it's like I'm good. But it's like that time in between, it's like, oh my God, I got lifting today. And I don't even care if any of you are watching. I feel that way sometimes. It's like,
I mean, that's just the reality.
It's like, man, I got lifting today. But then it's like, whistle hits and you're like, oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah, man, it's like the people, like Superman doesn't exist. Like the superpowers and all like the hero stuff that you hear about, and like people think about who's my idol, who's my icon, like this guy has everything. Like they got the same thoughts you do.
Yep.
They don't. They like there's days when they really don't want to show up. Yep. There's days every single person has that. Like that's what we share amongst us.
Right.
Like all of the athletes, it's like, man, like oh my God, dude, like a Saturday practice at 8 a.m. It's like, dog, the grind is not special just to you. You're not the only one that's going through that.
Yep.
Every single person has, and that's why you're a part of like this fraternity. Like if it was easy, everybody would do it. Mm-hmm. It's cliche, but it's true. You know, and
timeless saying.
Yeah, man, like everybody has those same thoughts. I don't want to show up. Just do it. Yeah. Just show up. Just show up, dude. And you'll be so surprised that as long as you show up, how much better you're going to feel after it. And that's like the biggest thing, man. Stay where your feet are, show up. And then when you do show up, you're inclined to work hard because you're already there. You know what I mean?
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
You got people that like, stay after lifting, and then it's like they're like just walking around, dogging the, the auxiliary lifts, like the stuff outside of the main Olympic lifts, and you're like, dude, you stayed after a 7-hour day of school for an hour and a half. Get out of it. Right? Don't get through it. Best 100%. Thing is what Coach Nowakowski said is just like he would show up. I mean, you talking about unmatched energy. I've never met anybody with the amount of energy Coach Nowakowski had, and it was like I got stuff going on at home. I got problems at home. I don't love my job all the time. I'm not gonna let you see it. Right. I'm gonna come here all the time and do that. And it's like, and then they got the guys that are like, and if you're here. He always said, "Don't get through it, get from it."
Yeah,
that's the best thing. Even our warm up, you got guys dogging a warm up, which happens all the time because it's just
I did it
going through the motions, right? It's like don't get through it, just get from it, right? Because you gotta get something from it. You're doing it, so why not do it 100%? So,
absolutely,
but the beauty is when they do it.
Yes,
the beauty is when they actually.
It's like, a rewarding feeling.
When that one kid who you've been working on like freshman year, he was a problem. Sophomore year, he was a problem, and then like junior year, it's just like, boom. Yep. And you're like, oh my God, this is it right here. It's like these.
That's the win. That's the biggest win right there.
5 seconds right here are complete ecstasy for like what you do as a coach. Yep. And it could be any endeavor. It doesn't matter. It could be raising a kid or whatever. But like when that light bulb finally hits.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then to build on it, it's like then they feel good, right? They're like, oh yeah, like coach, like I finally did it.
Yeah.
And then another Nick Saban quote, I'll never forget it on Rolling with the Tide. Like he said, we don't do things to practice them until you get it right. We do things and we practice them until you can't get them wrong. You know what I mean? And that's part of my like competing thing that we'll talk about whenever the question comes up. But yeah, like just show up, dude. Show up, work hard, and then no matter what, practice it until you can't get it wrong.
All right, let's go. So last question.
Might as well roll right in.
Getting into the competition. It's our weekly question. So this could sometimes we get a short answer, just everything, from Aaron and stuff like that. But competition means something different to everybody. So just what is it? What does competition mean to you?
To me, it goes back to that Nick Saban quote. Like, we don't do things until you get it right. We do it till you can't get it wrong. And I'm all about competing being journey oriented. Like, once again, I said it a couple times, everybody loves to win. But as a coach and as an athlete, like I'll say to my guys all the time, we score a touchdown. I'm like, 3 guys did something wrong. And that's fine when you play or you're like, no matter who you're playing, right? If you score that touchdown, but the guy who scored the touchdown made 5 guys miss, is it a good touchdown?
Yeah.
Good individual performance. What that tells me about a person, and you talk about competition, is like are you going to be able to compete against high-level competition? Because if that's the kind of person you are, if you're just strictly results-oriented, you will, in my opinion, you'll never be able to compete against the best. In order to compete against the best, you have to be process-driven. Like, it's a great touchdown when the back is untouched, right? But at the same time, like, make it as small as you can make it. Did the linebacker fill the wrong gap? And that's why we scored a touchdown?
Sure.
Or did we execute that play to perfection and we ran that double team like that's a good touchdown for me? You know what I mean? Or it's like in the baseball terms, right? Like, did you really work the count?
Right.
Like, did you get that hit because you worked the count and because you kind of made that pitcher feel like he needed to nibble or whatever? Or did you get that walk just because, like, the pitcher was wild and you're like,
Right.
Coach, I had 3 walks today. Oh, look, dude, like, the pitcher couldn't throw a strike for 5 innings, bro.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Or, like, are you getting into your timing? Are you getting into all of those little things that are going to make you the most successful against the toughest competition? That's what I'm all about. Jiu-jitsu.
Right.
All right, cool. I got an arm bar, but like, did the guy work the right defense? Like, did I make that arm bar happen, or does like he just gassed and like it just kind of happened?
Right.
I can't be happy about that because I know that if I'm going to go up against somebody good, that's not going to happen, and then you're going to be crushed by that defeat. You know, and I think that's one of the problems with being super result oriented. Like, we want to go 9-0 this season, Coach. What happens when you drop game 1?
Yep.
Like, is the whole season
How you bouncing back?
Like, is the whole season now dead because we can't go 9-0? Or like, why were we not just focusing on going 1-0 that week?
Yep.
Right.
And I like that's what competing means to me is make everything as small as you can make it. Win the step,
Win the drill.
win the hand placement, then win like your width when you're blocking on the O line, or like your quarterback, like win with your pre-snap read. Right now, do you know where you're going with the ball? Or like, oh, wow, the safety's kind of tilted. It might be like kind of like a trap too. Whatever. Like, are you realizing those things, and is that why you're successful, or is it just because like the corner fell down, you threw it, you scored a touchdown? It's like, that's what competing means to me. Is just make it as small as you can make it. And did it happen for the right reasons, or did it not?
Yep.
Because I think it's you get to that state level, like you talk about high school sports.
Sure.
Like that team that you're going up against in the regional finals, like they're
Doesn't
no
make
slouch.
those mistakes.
And you're like, oh, man, Coach, we ran through the whole regular season, and then we got here and we lost. Like, we worked. Yeah, but like, what were we focused on?
Yeah.
Were we focused on dominating the play? Because if we were, we would have won the game. And if we made it small, play by play, drill by drill, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
That's what competing is to me. Is just,
man.
yeah.
That's what they promoted the most at Wesley, like baseball wise. It's just like win the little battles, win the little battles.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, if like, let's say you're not having a good season, right? It's you go in wanting to go 1-0, you don't go 1-0, right? Then it's like, and they're like so bummed out, but it's like,
Yeah.
Did you win every single drill you took at practice this week? Did you win every single rep you took this week?
Yeah.
When you took a rep just in a running back drill, and you made a cut on that stand-up bag, did you give it your all? Because if you
Did you?
didn't,
Right.
then don't expect to go out
100%.
there and be able to do it against live competition.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and I know it's tiresome. I know it takes a lot.
It does,
But like you said, that's only 2.5, 3 hours of the day. Like,
Yeah, man.
there's a lot of other stuff that's going to go down when you get out of high school and want to go play more.
Yeah,
So you
right.
better be able to handle all that stuff. But yeah, it's a constant conversation you keep having. And if it's not happening, you keep having the conversation and you keep working at it. So
Yeah, when you look at those high level competitors, like my biggest comparison is always Steph Curry. Every single game, he does the same exact dribbling drill every time. 2 balls between the legs, like machine gun dribble, whatever you want to call it. He does all those things before every game. He goes through the same shooting routine before every single game. And it's like that guy who is the greatest 3-point shooter of all time, argue a wall, I don't care. Like, he's the greatest 3-point shooter of all time, and he does the same thing, the smallest thing. He works on his release. Like, it's not just like working on things like, oh, I shot 100 threes today. Well, cool. Like, did you practice like how you step into the jump shot? You know what I mean? Just make it small, man.
bank 25 of them in. And,
Yeah, right. Exactly. For sure. 100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean,
Good answer.
I love hearing that. That's probably it is my favorite question. I love hearing where people come from. I love hearing your coaching philosophies, but it's just like we just get a different answer every single time about competition. And it's just because competition couldn't mean more to me,
Right?
And I don't care what the heck I'm doing. Just I went and played disc golf on Tuesday, and it was like, God damn,
you throw one into the woods, you're like,
it just suck, man. I'm just throwing a frisbee in the woods, man. Like that's what it is. But I mean, it doesn't matter what we're doing, man. That's what makes a good coach, and what makes a good competitor, and that what hopefully every other coach thinks, because that's how you're going to get the best out of your players.
Yeah,
doesn't matter what sport it is. You got to have that mindset. And I even like the fact that you said the extreme ownership, because I read that book forever ago, and I want to read it again. One of the best books I've ever. If you read that book, it's Jocko Willink's book, Extreme Ownership.
He's not a coach yet. Just give him time.
I don't care if he's a coach or not, dude. Like, you want to talk about extreme ownership of life?
Yeah,
I mean, that is one of the best. And I don't read much at all, but I freaking.
Is it an audiobook? I'm more of a listener.
It could be an audiobook, but I flew through that book, and I couldn't put it down. So I mean, there's just got to take ownership of what you're doing, man. Got to do it. But, I
got questions for you.
Oh, here we go.
Look, man, we gotta have a little fun, right?
I like it.
It's hometown advantage. Yes. It's the name of the podcast. Talking about small town sports. What are your most memorable thing that you did playing Rising Sun Sports? Ooh. Both of you. Like, you got to shrink it down. One moment. Well, it could be a game, right? Or it could be what? It could be an at bat. It could be a game. It could be the run that you went on, and then we'll get to Dom after that.
Oh, shoot.
Ooh, that's a really good question. I don't know.
Man,
I mean,
mine's easy because we just had the track episode last, but it's the grind of track going all the way to regionals and then making states in like a team oriented event within a individual sport, right? Just from the handoff to from the tape marks for your get off, and it was like everything just clicked, and we made states that year, and it was like, and it just crossing the finish line. Now it was like we got third, but top three make states, but it was 100%. it was like relief. It's like boom, we did it, we made states.
Right,
like
man.
Holy crap, going up like hugging Tremo, and like it was just like every day I left practice, I wanted to quit, but it was all for this moment right here.
But you kept showing up.
We kept showing up.
We kept showing up. And when you're there, you're inclined to work hard, man.
Yep.
That's what it is. And that's awesome, though, all that hard work, just like that one culmination. And once again,
it took 40 seconds.
That was it.
Right. That's it.
Right. And that was like, we talked about different defining moments for different people, and it's so great that everybody has their own defining moment, and for you it was make a stage for you know what I mean,
right?
So that's beautiful, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, I got two, I guess. I mean, obviously the first one, I was a freshman, and I remember working my butt off, and mid-season I got pulled up from JV to varsity, so that was big for me. But then we never made any kind of crazy playoff run or anything like that, but my biggest moment was senior year. First game of the season, we played Northeast at Northeast, and I remember, because I played travel ball and everything, I played year-round, and I remember being in the biggest slump possible at the plate, leading up to this and everything, and I just couldn't get anything going, in travel ball and at practice and stuff, and then first game of the season, I hit for the cycle right off the get-go.
I don't even know if I knew that.
And my first at bat, I hit my home run, my first at bat, and I remember coming around third base and just looking over at my dad in the stands, and he was just so pumped. Like, I'm getting goosebumps right now, but it was just like the greatest feeling ever, dude.
Old Jeff just scarfing down 7-Eleven hot dog.
The cycle?
Yeah.
That's a defining moment.
All right, so hold on. Wait, what was the last, what was the cycle completer? Was it the triple, the double, the single?
It was a double. So I hit a home run, a single, a triple, and then I finished on the double.
How did you feel when that ball left the bat and you're like, yo, I'm legging out this double right now. I'm getting this cycle. I'm getting it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or it could have been a triple and you just stopped it too.
Did you ignore the first base coach? Rounding first. He's sitting there holding up. You're like, hey, dog, I'm getting this cycle.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember hitting that home run though, and just that feeling, that ball coming off the bat, like it was just
you don't even
like
feel,
I
you
just
don't even
knew
feel it.
Yeah, I was just like, I literally didn't even have to look at it. I just knew it was gone.
No doubter.
Yeah, it was great.
Nice.
Yeah, I do that on the show right now. You know what I mean? I sit back and play.
Put that marker right on that ball.
I just want to make it known that's the one and only time I've ever hit for the cycle. So
not many people can say they've done that.
Yeah, that's
I don't care what
more than
level,
most
so.
for sure.
I've
for
come
sure.
close
That's dope,
a couple
though.
times.
That's dope.
I've hit for the cycle many times without the home run.
Okay.
I was never a power guy.
Gotcha.
I was more of a hit for average guy. But
There you go.
It's good to relive the glory days, man.
Yeah, man.
So, what is the most fulfilling moment of your coaching career?
Ooh, all right. Shoot. I already said it on your podcast is when we played Hartford Tech, and it was my second year, and we were 6-3. They were 8-1. I mean, they were the dogs, and
Always got a good squad over there.
Yeah,
Always.
No one gave us a shot. You're in the school, so you hear all the kids like, "Oh, Hartford Tech, how you guys gonna beat that?" It was like, we're just gonna go out there and try. We're gonna go freaking try to win the game. I got kids ask me all the time, "You guys gonna win this week?" No. What do you want me to answer? Like, no, absolutely no shot.
Aren't they the worst questions as a head coach?
Oh my
Coach,
God.
how we looking this week? Well, we're looking, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Unless
Man,
on
it's
Friday.
day one of practice, dog.
Right. We just
had
had a really bad one for if you should know. Okay, and I hope that we turn it around by Friday. But
Nothing's clicking.
This is like you get those, and people are just trying to be cool and make conversation.
Sure.
And I'm just
Sure. Just let's can we please separate school and football?
separation of church and state and school and football.
But yeah, once that they botched like their timeouts and stuff like at the end they had a timeout. I don't think they knew it, but the guy wasn't standing next to the ref.
They took it home with them. They took a timeout home.
Dude, they went out there to kick a field goal and could have called a timeout 20 seconds earlier, got more yardage, and they missed the field goal. And I just remember looking locking eyes with one of my players, and it was just toss the headset, lose the box on the belt, and it was just just the hug, the embrace, just to lift a dude up, and it was we did it. It was, and that was just a regular season game,
right?
But it was just the seeing in the guys, because when we came and took over, and Vaughn took over, and I came with, joined the staff, they had won one game in 4 years.
Yeah.
And they were sophomores during that run, right? So these were seniors now, or junior, and some juniors too, that had seen, just a drought. And when I came in, it was all about change, and it was just looking into those guys' eyes, it wasn't even holy crap, we did it. It was we did it. It was not it was not we got lucky or anything. It was just we did our job. And it was just, oh man, it was just so amazing. And any time that a kid scores a touchdown, or you have the perfect play, and everything just bang, 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 all 11 just are in sync. It's just, that's beautiful. And it's just and I'll say number two, besides out of football, and we talked about this before too, is having a kid come up to you outside of them playing and just be like, "What's up, coach?"
Yeah,
right?
man.
It's the idea of that. It's you're still coach to them. They still remember you as that figure that has shaped stuff they do in their life. And that's probably top actually over the Hartford Tech one, but that's definitely probably the bigger one.
Anytime it happens, man.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a great thing.
It's amazing.
I said it 100 times. That's why we do it. But
Yeah.
So what got you into jiu-jitsu? Now we're getting away from the little hometown thing, but I just gotta know. No, because I know the reason.
Got a whole separate podcast.
The reason I got into it, I was like, Joe Rogan's really cool. John Willick's really cool. I'm gonna run with it. But you were talking about it with Anthony, and you were trying to get those guys into it. But what dragged you in?
I mean, it was a little bit influenced from Joe Rogan. I mean, I listened to it a lot. But so my wife is a very high level karate. And she trained karate a lot of her childhood.
Keep you in your place a little bit.
Yeah.
She watch your step around the house.
And her father is a either second or third degree black belt in karate. Nice. So being around that, and then she trained with this girl, and her name's Shannon. and she later on moved to jiu-jitsu, and I saw her posting pictures and stuff, and I told my wife, and I was like, I think I kind of want to try it. She's like, you should try it, you should do it.
She's like, I can't keep being the man of the house for too long, you know what I mean? If somebody comes in, she's gonna kick him in the throat, you're gonna be like,
You got him.
Pretty much.
I'll get my guns.
Well, we always like fake fight, like play around,
Yeah,
fight or
yeah,
something,
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
And she'll just like haul off, just hit me right in the gut. I'm like, God, we're just playing, man. I'm gonna catch you with an armbar if you keep messing around.
that's cool,
So now like we hug, and I'm like, got the underhook, and I just take her back, put her rear naked.
That's right. Let her know. Just kidding.
Oh, boy.
But all right. So, question back for you, Dom.
Oh, boy.
What is the advice that you have from young coaches aspiring to climb the ladder?
Whew.
They just start out
So high school or college?
anywhere.
All right,
Doesn't
so-
matter.
Well,
'Cause
anywhere like
the
really, I guess it doesn't
principles
matter.
of it,
Yeah, it
of
doesn't
are the
really
same.
matter. Like, if you're gonna do it, like, and try to get out of that mindset of like, I know there's nothing against like the parent stepping in to fill a role that's needed, right?
Right.
But like, if you're going to put the effort into these kids, then don't like hold anything back,
Right.
because like if you're doing that, then you're not, those kids aren't getting everything that they could possibly get from you. So just when you know you're going into it, like go into it ready to like whatever is needed from you, give that and give it 100%. Even if you don't know, right? You could be coming into a staff and it's like, I need you to go coach this position, right? Well, if you know a little bit about it, I would want you to go learn everything possible about that. So when you come in, right, you know exactly, like those kids can learn from you, and they're not coming out of that practice like, I don't think that coach knows what he's talking about.
Right.
And yeah, and so I mean, like just give it 100%. Everything comes back to buying in.
Yeah.
So like if you're gonna do it, buy in. Know that it's about like now at the college level, right? There's a lot of work that gets put into it, like tons of work. Be ready to commit your time, and don't complain about it, like because that's what it is at the college level. Like,
And make sure you get the head coach's coffee order right.
yes.
No, I'm just joking.
Yes, thankfully Coach Strass got us Helens for us all the time. I never had to go get him coffee.
Man, that's
Dude, that was the best on a Sunday, getting the Helen sausage in the morning.
I've heard so many great things about Coach Strass.
He, like yesterday was his anniversary of him passing away, man.
that,
I mean,
like,
it was.
And you talk about building something, and like you said earlier, like getting flushed down the drain. Wesley was a powerhouse, man. So many guys that y'all put
nothing
into
against
that.
the football team, just the school, man.
So like guys that y'all put into the NFL, and like you like it always seemed like every year, like all right, who's Wesley got like at least like cracking it like the combine or a regional combine or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always heard absolutely great things about Coach Strass. Yeah, man.
I mean, Coach Strass is. I mean, talk about culture, and not even just him. Every single coach I experienced there, just is everything that Rising Sun is now. I mean, it's just talk about the influences. But yeah, just put your time in. You can't do it and not give 100%. Now, if you got other things going on, right? You got other things going on. That's life. But if you're doing high school sports, it's manageable.
Yeah,
right. I mean,
100%.
Talk about
100%.
things going on. Like we both got things going on. Like but we're doing it, and it's like just if we invite you to come on the staff, then we want you to have on the staff, right? It's not like we're just like there's people out there that we can get. So like we think that you can all like be a valuable asset. So put the time in, buy into the kids. Realize that if you're coming into high school, right, it's not the win-loss thing. Yeah. It's the win-loss thing, but more like just build a relationship with that kid.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's like you don't see him every day. You only see him for that 2.5, 3 hours because I'm the only one that's in the school.
Right.
And it's like, I get to build a relationship with him, but yeah. It's so rewarding if you're trying to be a coach out there.
Yeah. Anybody that wants to be a coach,
just
man.
Start as a volunteer and like maybe put as much time as you can into it.
Yeah.
And then once you realize you can put more into it, like you're gonna realize you want to put more into it because you'll see what comes from it. So yeah.
Yeah, Chemo, if you're, when you listen to this and you want to come back and be my online coach instead of Dom's, that'd be great.
We'll take you at Rising Sun. He's all the way up in Philly right now.
Get away from the paint, man.
Yeah, he's sniffing too much Sherwin-Williams, man. He ain't ever coming down from that.
Kima, if you're listening, you're welcome.
He's a big dog up there. Shane got him in the Sherwin-Williams, which literally
there you go.
propelled him into this
career.
This dude is at a Phillies game every week. And just
God bless him.
living a good life up there, man. I tell you what. Yeah.
So my last one, all right, for both of you. Who was the most influential coach in your life, and what did they do for you that made you respect them to like that highest order? Like, why do you remember that coach? Who and why?
I mean, it's easy for me, Coach Strass. I mean, I don't even want to limit it that Coach Strass, Coach Azanazy, and Coach Knapp. Because Coach Knapp was our offense coordinator, Coach Az was our special teams guy as well as our receiver. And then I got to work more with him as a coach because he did the recruiting side. But Coach Strass, like, bought into – I didn't play. I mean, I was a tight end. I was a glorified 6 offensive lineman on the double tight end king and queen package, which I relished every time I got to step on the field. Oh, yeah. But, like, Coach Strass knew every single thing about your life. He knew who your parents were. He talked to your parents. Like, he knew every time, every single player that he ever came through, he sent him a text on their birthday. He let him know he was thinking about you with the same 3 emojis. That were it was the squinting face, the football, and the water closet emoji, but it was WC, so the Wesley College.
Right.
It was those 3 emojis that got sent every single time, so you knew he cared. He showed up to everybody's graduation. And it was just like, then even more so when I started coaching, it was just like, just life talks with him. And it was just like, all right, like, this guy has a winning program, obviously cares about winning,
right?
But doesn't want anybody leaving this program and not putting a good name on Wesley. Sure, like, he's building people. And that's, what we talked about tonight. So 100% easy, hands down.
Coach Strass.
Sorry, Coach Vaughn. You had a great influence on me as well, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. But I only have to pick one.
It's hard to pick one, man. I mean, my dad was such a great coach for me my entire life, and he was the kind of coach that unlocked all of my potential that I had. But I had a coach, Coach Scott. He pretty much was my coach my entire life as well. I started travel ball when I was 13 or 14, all the way up until college. And for that entire time frame, Coach Scott was my coach. So he was the guy. And like I said, my dad helped me unlock the skill, but he was the one teaching me the life lessons. He was there for me when, bad games, good games, whatever it may be, just we were around each other 365. So he was he was a really good influence on me.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Glad to hear it. Just it always reiterates, man, like we do have an impact on kids' lives, and it's just like, there's not a lot of kids that might get that, the fatherly figure. Even not a fatherly figure. Like, I tell the guys all the time, like, look, man, I don't want to play the father role.
Right.
I like the uncle.
Right, sure.
We check in all the time.
The stern
we talk.
uncle.
Yeah. But, you just... It's just so we're so lucky to have those people in our lives, man. Like, really, not to get like too touchy feely with it, but
man,
it's just like always reminder, man. All you young coaches out there, like, you're going to make a difference, and all the people that are right now, that you're making a difference. So and that's the home, but that's the hometown feel to it too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
and it's easy to get that here, right? Because we have such small communities,
right?
And like, even going through what I went through last year, it was just like, you don't ask for the thanks, but obviously I go through the things that I went through last year. It's like, you hear them, and it's like, all right, well, I'm doing what I'm supposed to, and that's enough. Like, I don't need to see it, I don't need to hear it. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to, so keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You change a few things here and there, but it's like, don't change too much because things are working.
Right.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
So, man, what do you think?
It was great time, man. I would do another 2 hours just sitting around here and shooting crap.
Well, I tell you came up with 4 questions there, and you talked about you and your buddies having a podcast. I think you're ready.
Dude,
I'll send you a link for all the stuff.
Shout out to Smitty and KJ, man. Like, they're my college football. We get down a lot of Saturdays and just watch for 12 hours. You know what I mean? That's you got the whole Eagles cave here. Like, I just wish I could have a college football cave.
I never got into the college football, man. I mean, it's just Saturday I played, and it was like, I'll be honest with you, I went in and partied.
Philly fans are just such a cult.
Yeah, we are.
I respect it, though. I'd aside from the whole throwing
my
batteries.
My dad brainwashed me, so.
Throwing batteries at Santa Claus.
Wasn't born for that era. Wasn't around for it. Don't claim them.
But yeah, I wish I could have that college football cave like this, man. Like, I just love just the pageantry and the tradition and the cultures and like, it's awesome. So maybe we will.
Let's go.
Who knows?
Think about it. That was after Shane's podcast. It was like, let's do a sports podcast
Why
about
not?
like professional sport. I'm like, and like you said, I'm like, dude, I don't have like the time to like research scores. And like I got like my own football stuff, but local sports, that's easy.
100%.
We can talk about that for days,
100%.
man.
Right.
And we got 5 counties plus other people around that worth of coaches that we can talk to for months on end.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, we're having a great time doing it. You know, our listens have been going down. I'm looking at you in the camera, but I don't even care. Like I still don't even care. Like it's just having a
It's all
good,
part of the process, man.
having a conversation.
Whoa.
Sorry
Easy,
about that.
dude.
Having a
Dom's stomach
conversation.
is upset, guys.
Getting to hear like different viewpoints is the best
Yeah.
part for me.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, like you get to hear from the rival coach,
Yeah.
but it's like we learn from each other. So it's not like, it's
At the end of the day, we're all here for the same purpose.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. But then week 1, we just want to destroy each other. I mean, it is what it is. But that's the nature of the game, baby. It's a violent
Nature of the
sport.
game.
It's a violent sport.
Do we have a hometown spotlight?
So this week we're gonna allow our guests and
I got one.
we'll have Rossi to give the hometown spotlight this week.
So
hear
we just had one of my students, awesome. She's a great girl, super intelligent, very athletic, but name is Kara Pennington. All right, so, sister
I
of
seen
another
the post today.
of another Pennington, Ella, who
Rowan?
was a great high school swimmer, and I don't know what you're doing now, Ella, but I'm
She
sure
was
you're
at
doing great
Rowan,
things.
right? She went to Rowan.
Probably.
I know,
I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm sorry. But Kara, she like I said, she's one of my PE students. She traveled to Ohio to compete in the Bill Keating Jr. Memorial Cincinnati Para Swimming Open, and her times in the 100 freestyle and the 400 freestyle both were cuts for the emerging level of the Paralympic national team. While she
Nice.
waits for the committee to process her times and learn the next steps, she's excited to continue her hard work and training. She's also planning to apply for her second title of Scholastic All-American once those times are announced. All right, so just once again, you know, hey, Paralympic swimming, whatever it is, but like when you got a kid who's a quality kid, comes from a good family, like good character, very good academics, and like, you know, killing, she gets to go around and represent the
go.
national team.
Yeah.
Like they can call her at any time and go swim.
I seen that picture
And,
today on the Sports Weekly Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to her for doing big things.
Shout out.
All right, man,
awesome.
that's a great
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
That is a great
That's
one. I'm glad to let you take that one. I would have just probably shouted at the Rising Sun softball team.
Or the Elkton baseball team for walking off Rising Sun.
God, we tried to come back and then
I heard about that game.
that was a swing, man. That was a swing.
That's just a
Lot of-
plug for you, E. When you come on here next week, come in big swing.
We'll talk about it. There's a lot of errors in that game.
Cancel. Oh man, well, hey man, it was great having you on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Loved hearing what you're doing. I mean, I had an idea, but I just want to, other people, and you get to get your community in on this, and
100%, man.
just hear what we're doing here, and get to, give you some love.
Yeah,
and
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yep.
and we learn more and more every time we have a new guest on. So,
Yep.
if you like what you hear, once again, go follow us on Instagram or Facebook, and watch us on YouTube at Hometown Advantage Podcast, or the Spotify at Hometown Advantage. Got 6 episodes on there as of when you're hearing this one.
Blow it up.
Blow it up. Share it with somebody, man. Cool.
Yeah, super thankful, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate you
thank
guys
you,
having
man.
me on, man. It was a great
Appreciate
time.
it.
Great
Well,
time.
That's about all I got, Shane.
Cool.
Got anything?
That's it. That's all
All
I
right,
got.
guys. Peace.
Wrap it
Later.
up.